Good morning, students. I am Riya Sinha, your SST teacher. Today, we are going to revise our first chapter of civics, that is, our Indian Constitution. Now, before we start understanding what is Constitution, let's try to understand first why is there a need to study Constitution, or why is there a need to frame a constitution which came into being. Now, if we talk about any game, let's take an example of a football. If we play football with hand, then will it be okay? No, it won't be. Because as the name suggests of the game, you all have to play it with your foot. We can't play it with our hand. So, it is the fundamental rule of the football which explains that if you catch the ball with your hand, then it would be considered as foul. These are fundamentals of football, or we can say that these are constituent rule of football. Similarly, we can see these kind of constitutive rule in cricket, hockey and other games also. And if you are going to school, then you have to regularly wear school dress. That is a rule of your school. So, you all have to follow it. Now, let's take another example. Like if you are writing an exam, then you have to answer only those questions which have been asked in your question paper, not all the things which you have already learned. You have to answer only those questions which are mentioned in your question paper. You can't take any question, or you cannot write any answer according to your will, because you want a score for that. So, from these examples, we come to know that certain rules are defined for certain things, like in sports, in exams, or even in schools also. Similarly, for a country which is as big as India, also need certain rules. In other countries also, there is a need of certain rules to be formulated. We can either write those rules or we can take them as oral rules. So if we write those rules, that is known as constitution. We have looked at the Indian Constitution in class 6 and 7 in our civics textbook. Have you ever wondered why we need a constitution, or been curious about how the constitution got written or who wrote it? In this chapter, we will discuss both these issues and also look at the key features of the Indian Constitution. Each of these features is crucial to the working of democracy in India, and some of these will be the focus of different chapters in this book. So, we have to start our chapter first of all. So, before we start the chapter, it is very necessary to understand the word constitution. A constitution is a set of rules that guides how a country, state, or other political organization works. It may tells us what the branches of the government are, what powers they have, and how they work. It may also state the rights of citizens. Now, our first topic is, why does a country need a constitution? In all the democratic countries like our India must have constitution. but this does not imply that all the nations which have a constitution are democratic. There could be some nations which have constitution but they are not democratic. But all the democratic nations of the world definitely have a constitution. Now take the example of the Great Britain. It is considered a constitutional monarchy, but this country does not have an inalienable Bill of Rights. So, in all the democratic countries, constitution serves several purposes. One by one, we will discuss here all the purpose which our constitution serves. It lays out certain ideals that form the basis of the kind of country that we as citizens aspire to live in. Like, a country is usually made up of different communities of people who share certain beliefs but may not necessarily agree on all issues. There, a constitution helps to serve as a set of rules and principles that all persons in a country can agree upon as the basis of the way in which they want the country to be governed. This includes not only the type of government but also an agreement on certain ideals that they all believe the country should uphold. Let's take an example of our neighboring country, Nepal. Do you know the capital of Nepal? Yeah, it's Kathmandu. There was monarchical form of government. Now there is a new term for you all, that is monarchy. So as you all know, monarchy is a form of government in which a person, that is the monarch, is the head of the country. So according to the Constitution of Nepal, which had been adopted in 1990, the final authority rested with the king. Then the people of Nepal fought for several decades to establish democracy there, and finally in 2006 they succeeded. The country of Nepal has witnessed several people's struggles for democracy. There was a people's struggle in 1990 that established democracy that lasted for 12 years until 2002. In October 2002, King Gyanendra, citing the Maoist uprising in the countryside as his reason, began taking over different aspects of the government with the army's assistance. First of all, you have to learn who was the king at that time in 2002 of Nepal. So, King Gyanendra. At that time, he saw different types of unusual activities were going on there. So, the king then finally took over as the head of government in February 2005. In November 2005, the Maoists joined other political parties to sign a 12-point agreement. This agreement signaled to the larger public an imminent return to democracy and peace. And then again in 2006, this people's movement for democracy began gaining immense force. It repeatedly refused the small concessions that the king made, and finally in April 2006, the king restored the third parliament and asked the political parties to form a government. Finally, in 2007, Nepal adopted an interim constitution. The above interim constitution was there. Interim means that is temporary constitution for a particular time period. Now there is a question, why the people of Nepal do not want to continue with the previous constitution. It is because it does not reflect the ideals of the country that they want Nepal to be. As in the game of football, in which a change in the rules will change the game altogether, Nepal, by moving from a monarchy to a democratic government, needs to change all its rules in order to make a new society. This is why the people of Nepal are in the process of writing a new constitution for the country. So, now I hope you all understood the first purpose of our constitution, that it used to serve, that it lays out certain ideals that form the basis of the kind of country that we as citizens aspire to live in. Okay, now come to the second purpose, which is served by our Indian constitution. See, the second important purpose of constitution is to define the nature of a country's political system. As we have seen in Nepal, its earlier constitution stated that the country was to be ruled by the king, but in democratic government the constitution plays a crucial role in decision making. In both the form of governments, either monarchy or democracy, a particular leader used to rule the people. So it might be possible that the ruler misused their authority or power. So in that situation, constitution provides safeguards against injustice. This misuse of authority can result in gross injustice, as demonstrated in the classroom situation, which is shown in your screen. See it from there. Suresh is the class monitor. He is a bully. His classmates are not too fond of him. Suresh used to disturb other children or try to insult them or try to make him superior in front of others. Mrs. Rao, who is the class teacher, has to leave the classroom on some urgent work. She asks Suresh to mind the class. Suresh starts picking on Anil. Anil, today I am going to report you to Mrs. Rao. Suresh said this, who is the class monitor, said this to Anil, that today I will complain against you to our class teacher. Anil said, but what have I done? I haven't done anything wrong, so why you will complain against me? When Mrs. Rao returns to the class, ma'am, while you were away, Anil kept talking loudly and disturbing the class. He would not listen to me. Suresh has said lie to her class teacher that Anil was disturbing the whole class and he would not listen to him. Anil, you will have to stay back after school today and write, I will not disobey the class monitor 100 times. Anil, but ma'am, did not do anything. He kept on saying that he was not doing anything, he was not talking in the class, he was not disturbing the class, but Suresh has complained against him. That's why her class teacher has given punishment. Now Anil have to stay back after the school also. So in democratic societies, the constitution often lays down rules that guard against this misuse of authority by our political leaders. Our political leaders are like Suresh, who is having a lot of power. So if someone has power, then it might be possible that they misuse it of their authority. So in case of the Indian constitution, about which we will read, contain a section of fundamental rights. In class 7 we read about Om Prakash Valmiki. Do you all remember it? In that chapter we talked about the discrimination Om Prakash Valmiki faced because he was a Dalit. In that chapter we read about the right to equality, which guarantees to all the person and says that no citizen can be discriminated against on grounds of religion, race, caste, gender and place of birth. The right to equality is one of the fundamental rights guaranteed by the Indian Constitution. It is weird that sometimes a powerful group tries to dominate the minority, but it happens in democracy also. So in that situation, Constitution protects the minority. So see, the storyboard which is shown in your screen demonstrates one such situation in the classroom. The games period is about to begin. Let's play basketball today for a change. No, we will play cricket. Girls said, for the change, let's go and play basketball. Every time we used to play cricket. So boys said, no, we will not. The teacher decides to settle the problem with a show of hands. Obviously, boys are in majority in the classroom. The strength of boys are more than the girls. So, they won. Girls are very upset there. We always have to do what the boys want because they are in a majority. Ma'am should think of another way to make decisions so that our wishes are also heard. In such unhealthy situation can occur in democratic societies too, because in democracy only that things can happen which our majority wants. So where a majority can continuously enforce decisions that exclude minorities and go against their interest. So as the storyboard illustrates, every society is prone to this tyranny of the majority. The Constitution usually contains rules that ensure that minorities are not excluded from anything that is routinely available to the majority. Another reason why we have a constitution is precisely to prevent this tyranny or domination by the majority of a minority. This can refer to one community dominating another, that is inter-community domination, or members of one community dominating others within the same community, that is intra-community domination. Learn the difference between inter-community domination or intra-community domination. Inter-community domination means one community dominating another. Intra-community domination means members of one community dominating others within the same community. Other community is not going to interfere here. Only it is going on in the same community. Members of the same community used to dominate other members. Like in untouchability, members of upper caste Hindu community used to dominate so-called lower caste Harijan community. So this is an example of intra-community domination. Okay, now So the second important purpose of constitution is to define the nature of country's political system. Now come to our third significant reason or purpose served by our Indian constitution. So third significant reason why we need a constitution is to save us from ourselves. Yeah, to save us from ourselves. How our constitution can save us from ourselves? What we are doing, what problems we are creating. Why is it necessary to save our country from ourselves, and what our constitution is doing for that? So it simply means it protects us against certain decisions that we might take that could have an adverse effect on society. It is not doing any other thing like it is saving us from ourselves. It doesn't mean that it is doing any other thing like that. It means it protects us against certain bad decisions of our that we might take sometimes that could have an adverse effect on our society, or that could have an adverse effect on our community or ourselves also. So in that situation it used to protect us. Look at the storyboard given on your screen and let's better understand this. Shabnam is in a fix. She has a decision to make. She is in dilemma, it means. Okay. She doesn't know what she has to do, what is wrong for her and what is right. So I have 2 chapters left to revise for tomorrow's test, but it's time for my favorite TV program. I am dying to watch it. But if I do that, I won't have time to finish my revision. She is in dilemma. What she has to do or what she has not to do. She has to revise 2 chapters for her test, which is going to be the next day. But it is the time for her favorite TV program. She wants to watch that also, but if she will watch that, then she hasn't time to finish her revision. Now what is good for her? What decision is good for her or what decision is wrong there? See the storyboard ahead. Shabnam, why are you looking so worried? Her mother asked to her, why are you so worried? What happened to you? Shabnam, I want to watch this TV program, but I have a test tomorrow. If you all watch TV, I will also want to watch. I have an idea. What if no one watches TV tonight? Then I may not be tempted. Obviously, she is a child, so if someone at her home is watching her favorite program at that time, so she also wants to do that. She tempted. So she said to her mother that what if no one watches TV at that night? If no one watches TV at that night, then she might studied hard and she will complete her revision fast. So it's a good thing I did not watch TV. There are so many questions from the last 2 chapters. During exams, she's thinking like that it would be better if I did not watch TV because there are so many questions from the last 2 chapters. So it would be better if I would not watch the TV, and instead of that I had to do the revision of these chapters. So similarly, the Constitution helps to protect us against certain decisions that we might take that could have an adverse effect on the larger principles that the country believes in. For example, it is possible that many people who live in a democracy might come to strongly feel that party politics has become so acrimonious that we need a strong dictator to set this right. Even in our day to day life, also in our home, also our father or elder member of our home who used to see the news regularly or who used to take interest in political terms, he always used to say that there are so many corrupt people in our politics. So swept by this emotion, they may not realize that in the long run, dictatorial rule goes against all their interest. A good constitution does not allow these whims to change its basic structure. It does not allow for the easy overthrow of provisions that guarantee rights of citizens and protect their freedom. From these discussion, I think now you will understand that the constitution plays a very important role in democratic societies. So now I hope that you all understood it well, whatever topics we have covered today. I am going to give you homework. Some of the keywords are here. You all have to learn it properly. See, first keyword is constitution. It is a set of rules that guides how a country, state, or other political organization works. It means constitution is a set of rules that guides how a country, state, or any organization works, like we have discussed in our chapter also. Second number is arbitrary. When nothing is fixed and is instead left to one's judgment or choice. Third is ideal. A goal or a principle in its most excellent or perfect form. We used to say it now that he is an ideal student, he is an ideal boy, he is an ideal girl, like that. So any goal or principle in its most excellent or perfect form is known as ideal. Okay, so this is your homework. You all have to learn these keywords properly. In the next class, we will revise this chapter further. Till then, stay at home and stay safe. Thank you. how our constitution can save us from our